1 p.m. Eastern, Tampa Bay Buccaneers and New Orleans Saints. I love seeing my card come together on this show, and it's very enjoyable.
Beautiful. I'm loving it. I like where we're at right now.
Yeah, it's very enjoyable. Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. Bucks 1-0 on the road. New Orleans 1-0 at home. Let's go into the line history here to get rolling. We're sitting at a 40.5. This opened up at 39.5. It's climbed. And it climbed immediately when it came out, 9:30 this morning. It climbed immediately. And the under 4.5, earlier tonight was the over was juiced. It's back to the under being juiced. So maybe it's gone, that threshold of 40 is too high for some gamblers, but it's moved 1 point to the over. Let's get into the point spread here for this one. And we are, let me move over here. We are sitting, too many games up here. We're sitting with the Saints -3 at -112. Bet Chris has them up at -120 with Will Hill. This was -120 here at Penny, but there's been 8 cents of buyback. This opened up at -115. So there's been a slight move towards the Buccaneers. From last night's game with Tampa, Philadelphia, it did not sour me on Tampa. It just made me understand a little stronger how good Philadelphia is.
Right.
That's all. So it's not soured me on Tampa. I'm not against backing Tampa, by any means. So I just want to get that out there. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this spot. It's really fun watching these games so closely and then sitting with them and seeing how it changes. 46% of the tickets and 96% of the cash on the under, and yet it's gone from 39.5 to 40.5. That's a little strange. And then we have, 62% of the tickets and 82% of the cash on the Buccaneers. That's a bit of a surprise, but obviously it's based on who's playing at quarterback for the Saints. Buccaneers coming on a short week after getting beaten up in every facet of the game by the Eagles in a 25-11 home loss. The Eagles led 25-3 by the time the Bucs finally got into the end zone on Baker Mayfield's 1-yard touchdown throw to Mike Evans. 2-point conversion made that a 14-point lead with 9:22 remaining. The Bucs offense only managed 174 total yards. Baker Mayfield 15-25 for 146 yards, a touchdown, a pick. Mike Evans caught 5 passes for 60 yards and a touchdown, but all I remember are the drops from him. He made some big catches late when the game didn't matter. Chris Godwin was held to 3 catches for 32 yards. Rachaad White struggled, and that's who he really is. I shouldn't have got caught up in his performance last week. 14 carries for 38 yards, caught 3 for 24. They were unable to get pressure on Hurts. Lavonte David had the lone sack. He also had 15 tackles. As a team, they only managed 4 quarterback hits, and this usually stout run defense couldn't stop Swift at all. The Eagles, 203 rush yards. They couldn't get the Eagles off the field. The Eagles won the possession battle 38-55 to 21-05. The defense allowed the Eagles to go 10 of 16 on third down, but strengthened in the red zone, which is important. It's important. They held the Eagles to 1 of 5 in the red zone. But Devin White and Dee Delaney had picks, and White is not listed in any injury issues, but we watched him re-aggravate his groin, didn't we? I thought he could have taken that back to the house if he didn't, but he's not listed anywhere. I don't know why. Carlton Davis with the toe and Kalijah Kancey are missed last game, and we have to wait till tomorrow to see if they're going to be available here. They're not on the IR or anything. Saints coming off that heartbreak 18-17 loss at Green Bay. They're up 17-0 going to the fourth. Green Bay became the third team in the past 30 years to win after being shut out 17-0 or worse through 3 quarters. Derek Carr got knocked out by Rashawn Gary, not knocked out, but knocked out of the game with the shoulder, suffered an AC joint sprain. He's week to week. So Carr completed 13 of 18 passes for 103 yards and 1 touchdown. You don't think Carr is good until you see Jameis Winston out there. And then you realize, maybe Carr's okay. The Saints did not score a single point after Carr left. And he's not being ruled out, but I'm certain. I don't want to say certain. I don't expect him to be playing. But there is good news. Kamara will return from his 3-game suspension. That's huge because Jamal Williams is out, and Kendra Miller made his season debut, and he wasn't bad. Tony Jones Jr., I think we're asking a little too much of him. He's not a bad player. He's better than the practice squad guy. 8 carries for 31 yards, caught 4 for 21. Olave is a monster. He's just very good. 8 catches for 104 yards. Michael Thomas 6 for 50, and Rashid Shaheed showed that speed, and that's just elite speed. 76 yards, punt return to the house. But he didn't record a catch. He was targeted twice. Saints offense only produced 252 yards, was 4-14 on third down. The defense couldn't apply enough pressure on Jordan Love when it counted and couldn't get stops in the fourth quarter. They finished with just 1 sack and 3 quarterback hits. Lonnie Johnson had a pick. Alontae Taylor, I mean, he was the talk of the game up until the fourth quarter. Paul Snobito, out, and Alontae Taylor looked excellent. 5 tackles, 2 for a loss, 1 sack, 5 passes defended. And they lost Cesar Ruiz. He's in concussion protocol, so they need him. They need the right guard in. Take it away for us here, Troy. Next spot on the board for us, Bucs Saints.
I was like, after watching that Bucks Eagles first half, I was getting ready to come out here and tell you Baker Mayfield outplayed Jalen Hurts. That ended up not being the case, and it's hard to say because a couple of plays didn't go Baker's way, and he ended up looking like, or maybe it's manipulation or perception that he looked like old Baker compounding mistakes. But Mike Evans dropped a bunch of passes. To your point that you said, Jimmy, I mean, he made some great plays in the second half. They needed him in the first half to keep him in the game, and he did not come up with them. Could have caught a touchdown. Dropped the ball on 2 first down opportunities that forced him to punt. It's just 3 points, 3.5 points. It's just seems like I'm looking towards the Bucs. I'm not really looking towards the Saints in this spot. I think that the Saints had a bit of a cupcake schedule early in the season with the Titans, the Panthers, and the Packers. And I think that some of the ratings that they got are generous despite being completely bad. Their pass block ranks 23rd, run block ranks 27th. And like I said, this is going to be an easy matchup for the Bucs compared to what they just played against in the Eagles. Saints' inability to rush the ball. And I think that what surprised me and impressed me about the Saints is their coverage, their secondary. They had some incredible plays, were able to cover at an elite level. There's no doubt about it. Jordan Love did make some great throws to just completely void out how good their coverage was. But this is the lowest rated unit. This is by far, in my opinion, the strong suit for the Saints with Lattimore, Matthew, and Taylor. I don't trust the Saints offense. I mean, if I see famous Jameis as the quarterback for the Saints, I'll be on the Bucs.
Joe Jones and Lattimore versus Evans hate each other. Lattimore pissed me off in that game. There was a couple spots where I was like, it just didn't seem locked in. But he usually bounces back from spots like that. I do not think that Carr is going to be there. So now this backfired for me last year. It backfired on me a couple times when I didn't think a quarterback was going to be in there. And that's so basically we're gambling on an injury here. And I don't mind that. It's no real different than gambling on a game. I think I move on the Bucs and the under this evening. Now, Jameis is not going to help unders because there's pick sixes and possibilities like that available. I mean, Birdie, what a salient point by Birdie saying, where was it? Here. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Here. Well, watching Jameis look so unprepared in the system that he's been in for 4 years almost tells me that I want Jameis in there and will bet the Bucs money line. And that was true. And I'm going to say again, I think the Bucs are exactly what we want from in a gambling perspective because they're predictable. And that's important. Baker Mayfield's doing everything he can to not throw picks. He's got 2 excellent wide receivers that are healthy right now in Evans and Godwin. And he's got a running game that isn't very good. And he's got
the Saints strong suit on their defense outside of their secondary, they got Granderson and Jordan on the edges. But, the Bucs are great at the tackle position. Like, they could counter that easily. Yeah. It's the Bucs. Fuck.
Yeah, I didn't realize this, but it's the Bucs and it's the under. I didn't realize this.
Do we wait for Jameis to be ruled in, or did we just assume he's it? Yeah.
No,
I mean, I kind of figured, but
now I don't think that. I think that you have to come up with a game plan with Taysom Hill at quarterback. Personally, I mean, that's what I would do. But even if Taysom Hill is at quarterback, the red zone issues rear their ugly head. So. And we just saw the only good thing the Buccaneers did in that game is they lock in the red zone. That the defense is strong, holding the Eagles back in the red zone. So Rand says Bucs are under. I think both. So beautiful. This is great. No, I'm almost a little worried with the amount of action. And then obviously week 2, all the games went over. In week 3, we cashed all our unders just like we did in week 1, and that stuff does make it uncomfortable for me. DG thinking that these numbers are straight, and he's passing on this one. Darren Turner looking at the under as well. Caleb saying Todd Bowles can stop the run as well. And Harold Williams says Bucks win this game without Carr in there for the Saints. All right, let's roll on.